The only player to have played in the previous All Stars last season. On the top left-hand side, we start with the blue Zerg player. Bottom right, our red Terran player. Can he overcome the Zerg? This is
Brave Star Dream.
Sorry guys, my audio was a little bit low. Okay. Solar looked pretty good against Cure earlier, and that's something to keep in mind. Although, I still stand by the fact I don't think Solar should have won game 1 as easily. I think that was Cure's mistake, and that could have changed the entire series. So, let's see how this first game gets off. You know, how this first game starts off. Let's see where we go early. Let's see where we're going to be working from. Dream has been a bit more of a mech fan than Cure lately, but I'm not sure if that really means we're going to see any mech from him necessarily. TvZ is very hit and miss when it comes to mech right now. If someone really believes a certain map is good for it, in a best of 7 I could see it being used once. But that is about... that's about it. So yeah, we'll see what Dream wants to pull out here. I mean, obviously, I'm just saying it because Q obviously started off on this map earlier against Solar, and he did decide to play a bit of Mecharenio. This is Solar's map pick as well, so he obviously likes this map for Zerg, and it's, you know, it's big. It's good to take bases on. The Terrans really feel like they have to fall back to mech. Well, that's what we're going to find out. This Reaper comes in. Obviously, up top, prize pool for this, $3,000 for first place. I believe second place takes home about half of that, so it's about a $1,500 best of 7 we got going on right now. Which is a pretty big deal. Some pretty serious dollars. Yes, it's best of 7, guys. Here's the grand final. So Reaper gets active on that side of the map, obviously just picking up some information early. Solar really used a variety of styles earlier as well too. He found the most success with the Lingbane Lurker. And really found middling success with Lingbane Meter. He looked good in some of the Lingbane Meter games, just he won the games with the Lingbane Lurker. So it's hard to really pinpoint it on compositions though, because I think a lot of what won and lost those games was what happened earlier in the game as well. So you can't just... yeah, you can't just go and be super kind of negligent. Just because he starts playing meters, you can't just be like, oh, this isn't good for him. You can't just kind of count out compositions already, basically, is what I'm saying. Two Hellions and Reaper to the left-hand side. A drone takes a bit of damage, builds up into a Spore Crawl on the third. A Marine now is going to get on top of this Overlord. I'm going to chase that along over the right-hand side too. So Overlord getting chased around. The two Hellions and the Reaper out the front are going to get turned around by Lings. It's going to be a Cloak Banshee setup from Dream. Well, he's going to keep that Cloak Banshee. He might just start Cloak because of the Overlord Scout, and he might cancel it as the Overlord leaves and just go for that one safety Banshee just in case Solar is making some kind of roach play. The thing is, even if it's scouted, you can keep the Cloak Banshees and also just play into them because they're still good. He might just do that. He's going to start a second Banshee, in which case he's absolutely going to keep Cloaky. He's absolutely going to let that finish up. He is completely fine with that. Marine going to get this Overlord. Is going to... no! There we go. Marine in the main base gets the kill. It nearly snuck away. It nearly got out of there, but not quite in the end. That's a nice catch on the Queen. Free Queen Girl. We will take that any day of the week. Any hour of the day, any minute of the hour. A lot of this game comes down to Cloak Banshees already, right? Because a lot of this will just become, hey, do you know how well can these Banshees do? If they start to kill like 10 plus drones, then Solo's already going to be playing from behind. But if Solo can get a good defense off against the Banshees, really nullify their usage, well, then we're having a completely different story. Then it's a completely different game. So two Banshees are going to go up the left-hand side. The Queens are sat there, and the Banshees are going to make their way through. So finding the first entry is going to get 2, 3, 4 drones. Make it 5 over on the natural. Drone nearly walked into this here, but a good turnaround from Solo to keep that alive. Now the Banshees go back in. At the same time, Hellions are looking to see what's up, but the answer is a lot of Zerglings in position on the third base. So not much for the Hellions. The Banshees doing okay. Somehow still out of range of the Spore Crawler there, and nearly getting a Queen kill. It's just saved at the very end. Another Queen that chases Hellions off creep, though, and these Queens have not had a good game against Hellions so far. Now the Hellions might be about to pay for that a little bit, though, as they get chased into a corner. You can see that Dream is trying to make the most of these units, but they are trapped, and... well, Solo? He just left it. 9 drones went down then, so I feel like that's good damage. I definitely slow Solo down a bit, force him into a few more drones. We'll see what Dream can do off that in the follow-up, because he's already hitting 1-1 upgrades. Medevacs are coming through. It is time for him to start taking some positions, so let's see what he can get done as he starts to make his way onto the left-hand side of the map. I can't believe those two Hellions were left to live initially. That was not really meant to happen. Overlord goes down. Lings and Banes. The Banes don't have the Bane speed yet, but the Lings do have the melee upgrades, so that helps them to fight a little bit. Obviously, Solo prioritized the melee upgrades initially rather than the Baneling speed, which makes no sense. Just the way that this build works, that's generally the order things go in, so no surprises there. The station pit of Solar is continuing up now as 2-2 starting on the engineering base. Again, that 2-2 set of upgrades already going. Grab a creep tumor, feel these Lings getting pushed back. Tank fire very nicely done out on this left-hand side. I'm going to siege pull back a little bit. Some more Marines are out on the left here. Going to come through, and well, Marines already picking their way through this set of rocks. So rocks taking a lot of damage. Now all these Lings of Solo are going to continue to run around and down the right-hand side. Dream doesn't quite manage to capture the 4th base. Scout just yet, but I mean, he's pretty aware that bases are up and running here, right? He's starting to split his army into a couple different chunks and trying to make that difficult for Solo, especially with these siege tanks backing him up. You know, you force Solo into some smaller chunks of armies, and those tanks can do a really good job of target firing down certain Banes, etc. Right now, going to get flooded in on, though. A little bit of this kind of flanking army got caught by the reinforcements of the Terran, but mostly, I think, it was a good little fight there for Solo. It was everything else that's maybe not coming together here as Dream currently seems to have the numbers to just push on through. Oh, Marines stemming in here. These Queens in some trouble. The Banes. They're going to roll in to try and connect. I mean, still having a few Hellbats right now is helping a lot as these Zerglings don't have 2-2 yet. They're on their way to it. They are going to get a little bit more cleaned up, but this tank is still surviving. Now it's got Lings on top of it, so it will start to go down, but there's a huge wave of reinforcements from Dream about to show up. He's got Drilling Claws behind this as well, so he's ready to transition through into Widow Mines, realizing, okay, well, you're on Pure Ling Bane. You're probably going to move to Ultras. He doesn't want to play the tanks against the Pure Ling Bane, apparently. He wants to move through into some Widow Mines at some stage, or, well, I guess not just yet. He's just going to catch Solo here without any Banelings. So Stream is going to show up and he's going to get way too much. And Dream's just going to pick up a pretty convincing game. LE stand for in map names? Ladder edition. That's the edition that makes it to the ladder. Bottom right-hand side, our blue Zerg. Give it up if you're cheering on.
Eyes gaming. Shoulder.
Top left, our red Terran player. Up 1-0 in the best of 7.
Brave Star. Dream.
TV onto the natural. As you have our command center building up. And again, I like that Solo's just being a little safe with that drone early and getting set up and getting going. Good scouting with the overlords, just double checking there's no proxy on the bottom side of the map. Factory coming through. There we go, so grenade down. Ling's gonna get bopped around. We just see those Lings continuing to move here. 6 Lings made though from Solar. It's a little bit more than what you'd usually see. Usually you talk about 4 Lings and some of those kind of lovely numbers. But yeah, 6 is a couple extra. Really wants to make sure he's safe. Maybe even expecting a second Reaper to show up, right? Definitely a possibility given the size of the map. Man, Dream just going to go 3CC. Can these Terran players stop going 3 command centers? Like, hello? At what point are the Zergs just going to say, screw you, I'm sick of this. I'm just going to build Ling Bane Roach and just all in. Because, yeah, I don't know. This feels like you were just getting away with 3CC every time, even on, like, the small part of the map. Right down the bottom. I was going to see our Stimpack getting started. Couple of Queens coming up. Nice quick Stimpack. Second rack's going to be nice and early then from Dreams. We're going to see this Marine-based opener. We saw this being used from Cure against Solar in the final map that they played. Manages to get away up the right-hand side. So double engineering bay, just really just playing into this bio army. Still not talking about it. It's actually 2 extra racks. We're not even talking about a starport just yet from Dream. Just plenty of Marines. That factory is only built the very bare minimum of Hellions as well. So we're going to respond to this with macro. Engineering bays are setting up already. So we're getting up into the engineering bays right now. Now again, Submarine. It's a good map for Terran because it's small. You can push across the map easily. I wonder if we'll see an 8 racks just playing into that kind of aggressive style. Hit around 1.5 upgrades, working toward 2-2, and just keep that momentum going. Obviously, the first push will come around the timing of 1-1, and we'll see if that can do anything initially. But again, the larger push that generally can end games. That's where 2-2 comes into play. That's the timing. So yeah, really the eyes are, we've got 3 racks at the moment. Obviously we're going to see 4th and 5th racks next, but then it's, do we see 4th base, or do you see 3 more racks and an extra 3 more racks? The extra factory actually comes in with the 4th base. I got myself mixed up. So yeah, this is not even really the 3cc 2-on-1 sort of thing that we were talking about earlier with Cure versus Solar either. It's a little bit of a movement away from that as well. Dropping into the bottom left-hand side. You're going to see a few of the lings moving out. Still waiting to see what Solar's tech is going to be, if he's just going to stick on pure Ling Bane. If he thinks this is going to be a 3 base and kind of just continue to attack no fourth, then you kind of want to... Then you kind of do want to stay on Ling Bane. Maybe Hydras can be good against that as well, but Ling Bane better than just Ling Bane Muta for sure in that scenario. Of course, we don't know yet. There's a second factory. Would not suggest we shouldn't be seeing an 8 Rex. It means we should be seeing a 4th base at some stage here from Dream. Tutu on the way up. Tutu from Dream. He was slightly ahead before in 1-1, so he's let that slip slightly. Solar just going to go straight to Infestation Pits. So Solar's very happy just to play directly into the... Solar's just very happy to play directly into the pure Ling Bane here, right? Just wants to continue with that. Doesn't really want to change that up at all. Is just going to be seeing our Marines, Hellbats, all pushing across to the side. Okay, he's actually going to go Hydra Den with the Hive. So it is just going to be that pure Ling Bane, but then into like Lurkers. So it's not even really Ling Bane Hydra, because the Hydras come in so late, you're really just using those to make Lurkers right away. I mean, it is obviously going to be a few Hydras mixed in, of course. I mean, if you can get up to Lurkers on this map, then I kind of like it, but he's going to have very little creep spread on this right-hand side. He's going to be attacked from multiple sides as well. Yeah, Marines coming straight through. Queen's in a bit of trouble already. Gets one of them, and well, the drop play continues at the same time, dropping straight into that natural expansion, and now a drop to the 3rd base. So Dream really making the most of this. This is actually more than just a little drop as well. He's got units on the low ground to back him up, but not a tank or anything. He doesn't deny the attempt of a 5th base. And this drop here going to go all the way into the main eventually, but obviously now these units in the natural can pull up there. 4 drones go down. It's a bit of a lost mining time caused by Dream, as he doesn't quite get that Queen just yet. He's going to load up. He's going to drop down. Again, chasing down into this 3rd. And these drops have caused so much trouble. This is the problem for Solar. He didn't play any sort of anti-air. He didn't play any Hydras. He didn't play any Mutas. So he's got nothing to just push the Medivacs back. He just has to wait until the Medivacs literally lose all their units. But obviously the Medivacs can be extremely annoying in this phase of a game. Finally, some Hydras are going to start popping out. As he's obviously again been making his way toward that Lurk Den. Fifth hatchery on the far right-hand side, as we do see these few Marines are going to come in loading behind this mineral line. The Ling Bane running straight in. Marines get cleaned out, so Dream will not be too successful as Solar maintains a good little chunk of a supply lead at the moment. +3 attack on the engineering bay. There's our medevac with a few Widow Mines inside. Going in from a couple of directions. 914 drones going down. These Widow Mines have been the new meta almost, right? Just suddenly going into so many of these. Suddenly 122 workers killed. 24 workers killed. 28 workers killed. Have I got 30? Anyone, anywhere? My goodness. Suddenly you just killed 28 workers in quick succession in Solar. You got to spend 1,000 minerals or more. I mean, 1,500 minerals to get those back. He doesn't have 1,500 minerals sitting around. Wow, what a way to just fall apart. That's the thing with the Widow Mines. You lose a couple drones to one. You lose a few more to another, and then it's just started. Then it just doesn't stop. It just keeps going. It just keeps happening. It just doesn't stop from that kind of stage. He's running up. A few Marines lift up. These lurkers, though, going to catch this double drop, so at least Solo gets something of a win. He needed it. Not the last one. Solo on the big rebuild now, then. Has got back up to 90 drones, but again, that's a lot of money he just had to spend on drones. It takes away what should have been a bit more of a bank. You watch these Widow Mines continuing around. The drop in the picture-in-picture is pushed back as well. A good moment or two, honestly, from Solo after following the very unsuccessful handling of the Widow Mines. As I said, he loses 14. Liberator sieging up here as well. He's going to lose a lot more drones. But yeah, he was actually doing a pretty good job of... he's doing a very good job, I think, of actually kind of cleaning up there. Like, it was a good defense for a little while. Definitely helping out as Liberator will get the queens. The queen falls. Now Solo going to take this across the map. He sees his moment. He knows he's just cleaned up a lot right now. And he did lose a lot of drones to Widow Mines again, but that doesn't matter if you just push up the map and take the win right here and now anyway. So here we go. I mean, Dream just didn't trade well in the army recently, and well, he is going to counterattack, so this is becoming more and more all-in from Solo. As this bio army cleans out a hatchery. Solo's only remaking 20 circlings. He's got no money in the bank, whereas Dream does, so Dream can really recover from this as long as he doesn't die right now, and at the moment he's not dying right now. Like, okay, he's not in great shape, but he's alive. And now he's going to be able to use that bank to rebuild a bit more. Well, again, Solo, he's been losing those drones. He didn't replace them this time. He's trying to build units instead, and that might turn out to be quite costly. That might turn out to be quite costly. Planetary Morphs bottom left, and that's the thing now. Dream is already back up onto about a B5 bases. Actually, where's that command center build? I think the command center is built next to a 4th base that's already mining, so... And I'm not observing myself, so I can't go across to check, but I'm pretty sure that's the case based on what I'm seeing on the mini-map. Ling's going to start running in. The Marines are going to activate, pushing that Lingbane Hydra back through the bottom side. Couple lurkers coming up. Viper's going to consume some energy. These mines coming out through the bottom, Marines up through the top. Boosting in, Widow Mines. Get burrowed up, one of them, 2 of them fire, 2 of them get killed. Yeah, Dream. I mean, he obviously took a bit of a beating himself, but that kill on the right side just really slowed Solo down that little bit extra, and so again, we kind of get to the point where both of them reset a little bit. We have a medevac running through the bottom right. I mean, the drop play from Dream's been very successful. From Widow Mines through to even just the Marine drops, they've been great. And just going to try and keep on finding openings, especially now with lurkers. There's going to be lurkers in a few places, but at the end of the day, the lurkers can't be absolutely everywhere at the same time. They can't be on every single base. So just trying to find some openings, trying to find some ways in. Trying to see if what possibilities lie out there. First goes getting a few snipes on lurkers. It's a lot of lurkers to work through, though. There's not just going to be a walk up, snipe down all the lurkers kind of fight. You've got to win this game across a few fights generally. Unless one player truly screws up quite a lot. Goes quite far forward there, so the lurkers want to try and jump on, but the ghosts get away. Now lining up a few more snipes, actually hitting quite a lot of the lurkers quite heavily. There's some low health lurkers there as well. Very easily picked off if not careful. His tanks are firing heavily. I mean, nice Viper player needed to take those tanks out because they were getting a lot of shots off onto lurkers. These lurkers are taking some heavy hits. And now he's going to push Dream all the way back. Honestly, the weird thing about this is the size of the map, because then you can suddenly go from one player being the defender to the next player being the defender. And really, I mean, this is literally what's happening. You know, you're going left to right, right to left, and players are swapping roles around because the map is so short. It's so easy to get between those bases. Solo's out of money, by the way. Like, he's not out of money, he's still mining, right? But he's not got money in the bank, whereas Dream actually has a bit of money already set to spend. This feels like it's starting to come out in favor of Dream. He loses the empty medevac. Oh no, he stops with the other one, so he loses that too. It's obviously just a shame, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot of places to be looking at the same time now, so can't really blame him for it. Well, Ghost going to be lining up some snipes, as we do have our lurker getting picked off there, trying to open up this position for attack. I like that Dream's going one way than the other, right? He's keeping solo, especially when you're playing lurkers. You want to just get those lurkers down. You don't want to have to reposition them all the time, and that's what Dream is forcing by going left and right, then left again. He's looking for the openings. He's looking for the weaknesses. He's trying to find a way in which Solar falls apart here. He sets up another base. That's going to be base number 6. You only get 6 bases each on this map, and it's one of the issues for the Zerg super late in the game. Usually you need an extra base or 2 over the Terran player, and by only having 6 bases, you hit that limit much more quickly than usual instead of 7 bases, and it just doesn't give you quite enough time to really trade how you need to. And right now, Solo's struggling because he is just not building up enough in these fights. These ghosts, they're just getting the snipes off to clean up these lurkers as well, and that's just going to be GG. Solo loses everything, and Dream still has enough. Dream takes a 2-0 lead again.
Highs gaming. Shoulder. Brave Star. Dream.
I mean, I'm just worried that this is going to start, you know, casting the game. It's going to start being like, there is an overlord moving out. And I'm like, well, I've just lost my job. The robots are coming. They're taking my jobs. What can I say? They're literally going to just throw me out because they don't need me to intro the players anymore. What's a play-by-play caster like Wardy meant to do over here? Game number 3. This Dream leads 2-0. I can always do IRL and make an OnlyFans if things don't work out. I mean, you say that, but like, what if the robots start taking over the IRL as well? That's the thing. They take over one thing, they'll take over it all. Oh, Solar Nelly went for a little bit of a shirt eat there, but he didn't actually commit. He thought about it, but he didn't commit to it. All right, game 3. Okay, guys, this conversation is getting weird in the chat. Let's just cut this. We go into Romanticide. So this was another of Dream's map picks. I mean, hey, if Dream can win Romanticide, all of a sudden we are talking about a very good situation for Dream. Up 3-0. Okay, we go back to Solar's map pick, but he has room to work with. Maybe they're going to fight these lings. Only 4 lings this time around. Sorry, there was actually 6 lings again, right? So, yeah. No, he actually didn't get a kill on a Ling. Sorry, it was just 4. I really thought a Ling just died. Now a Ling dies. So just the 4 this time. I think it has to be 6 Lings just due to the size of the map previously. The problem is for Solar. I'm talking about this 3cc and why the hell is he just not punishing it? But if he goes to punish it and the and Dream goes Banshees, then yeah, if you go to punish it and Dream just has Banshees, then you're just not gonna do anything. You're gonna fall behind. You're not having a good time, and that's the danger for Solar. Down 0-2. It's tough right now. As it's set up here, first few Hellions coming through. We'll see exactly what build Dream wants to go for behind it. This time the starport's pretty quick, so it's not super fast barracks. It's a fusion core, so we will see a bit of BC play here at least. As Soul already realizing the threat of tanks behind those minerals, probably going to see a bit of mech play right now. Yeah, so very likely to see a bit of mech from this, and yeah, Romanticide is the map where it could work well. Definitely a lot of bases you can take very easily, I think, with mech. Definitely a good setup there. Okay, yeah, I like it. I did think we were going to see mech at some point in this series, at least just once, to see what's up. Good fake on the cloak, by the way. It's a really good fake on the cloak, really trying to sell the idea of this being something which it isn't. But Solo's going to go for the lair anyway. I think he knows just the possibility of what this could be. I think he just knows what the possibility of this could be, and he's now being very, very careful about it. Doesn't want to go, too hard. So he doesn't want to go too uncautiously. I think the lair just makes sense. Because even if you are up against Banshees, right, a fast, Overseers are actually really nice in that scenario. Going Banshees can be great. And then going, sorry, Mutalisks can be great. Going for that spike can be great. And obviously, in the same way, you cover it just in case it is a BC, which it is. So yeah, Solo gets the right build order at least. He crushed the mech play of Cure earlier. Again, I feel like a lot of that was maybe more due to Cure being a little bit haphazard with moving his units around and taking a 4th base earlier than he needed to. Let's see where we go to here as the lair is done. He does need to start that spire though. Right now he's just building an Overseer, and that's what I'm most worried about. Because now he might just build an Overseer and not go spire. And then the Overseer is just like, haha, I can detect. It's like, well, it doesn't matter if you can detect. And then that really hurts because now he's obviously built a lair earlier. And that's a hatchery build time. That's not building a queen. So now this BC shows up, and maybe there's not the queen count to really deal with this. Solar, I think, is realizing a little bit of the trouble he's in. The queens, I mean, they don't even have proper creep to move around super cleanly. It's not super bad, but it's not exactly ideal. And a good few drones already dropping here. Obviously, you lose drones against this early. You're probably going to keep on losing drones. These Hellions are going to try and make a run by as the queens are super out of position. There are Zerglings. And Dream will put his focus on these Hellions to try and get some good trades. The trades are actually pretty good, darn good. There's the Spire now from Solo after realizing it's a battle cruiser. Realizing what he can maybe do against this. SBC going to try and get a couple extra drones, and he does. Honestly, a very successful battle cruiser, all said and done. And the second VC is coming out now. Now, this first one should just go back home. Should just get ready to get repaired up. And then the second one can fly across the map with it. And they'll have Yamato. And they can do all those wonderful things with Yamato. The only thing is he might keep that BC there for a little while longer because he knows the Spire isn't done yet. And he might get a Yamato off before he has to go home to get repaired. And that would be the dream, to get one extra Yamato off than he ever really should. He gets 4 more drones. PC is back, the Hellions are still in, and Solar is falling apart. No, guys, our finals is absolutely turning into a disaster right now. 2-0 lead from Dream, and with this start, a 3-0 is to be expected at the moment. Thank goodness it's a best of 7 at least. Things on the bottom get an SCV. As Mutalisks continuing to build. Start to rally out onto the map. Actually catches one of the mutas. He gets Yamato up, and Ah, that's just so unfortunate. That reached across as well. It's really unlucky. Everything right now is just kind of not great, huh? We just show up. The Cyclone's already in position, set to go. Dream is looking absolutely monstrous in this series. Just with different builds. I mean, this game, obviously, Solar's caught a bit off guard. He doesn't quite know what he's up against for maybe a bit too long, but that's part of the power of Dream, switching it up at a good time, making it look like something it wasn't as well. And Solo, just again, was not in the, prepared in the slightest, really. Now with the mutas, you basically have to play a Ling Bane style. Now this Ling Bane was actually kind of nerfed against mech because of the difference, that damage, the Bane damage nerf. So in theory, this did actually die off a lot. I mean, mech wasn't very popular, but then even when we did see mech, we saw Ling Bane becoming kind of like a backup plan more than anything. Than kind of the initial go-to. We saw a lot more of those corruptors like what Solar built earlier. I think Solar now thinks, though, that he just needs these mutas because he needs to be able to deal with the, he needs to deal some damage himself, basically. So I think he realized that. Even better for Dream, he gets that Rich Vespene gas base up, so I mean, he has to mine Rich Vespene. Doesn't look like that's going to be denied by anything anytime soon. Yeah, the problem is here from Solar, right? The Ling Bane style, it needs to deny bases, it needs to slow down the Terran, but how the hell do you slow down a Terran player that controls the game? The whole point of Ling Bane is that you control the map, you out-expand, all of this, you out-mine, but when he's at least taking bases, right? Like, Solar's on 5 base, he's going to 6, like, he is not slowing down there, but I'm very worried about this mech army maxing out and just going, because I don't see an army from Solar that can stop this, and I don't see a bank for Solar that can then rebuild against this. That's the problem. The mech army is just going to be set to go too soon, like way before these mutas are ready. Thor's firing. That's going to be seeing a couple mutas kept at bay as some Zerglings will make their way toward the upper right-hand side. Now going to take a turn and run into a Cyclone BC setup. And Hellions just continuing to the bottom side here. A couple of spines are going to help out, but I mean, every single one of these drones is just a drone that Solar's already kind of struggling for. Now, I'm being very pessimistic about Solar, but he is maxed out at least. Again, in a straight-up fight, he's not in the greatest of setups, but let's see what else he can do. He's on top. What was this? Solar, what the hell was that? Did he just not see the Widow Mines burrowing? I saw the Thors. I thought he was just going to fly out, but then he just kept on trying to fight. I feel like he just didn't realize what was actually there. Now you got 4 BCs on the map. The mutas are super beat up, so they're going to struggle to justify coming into this fight. Yeah. Now you lose 3 more because the Yamatos go off. Oh my god. Oh my, this is horrible. Solar's going to GG out after this fight. If he doesn't GG out after this fight, he's going to GG out when this army moves across the map. There's no way. He knows how horrible that was for him. What the is going on? Bottom left-hand side, the Shirt Eater has powered up. He's unlocked his secret power. He's used his ultimate. Is it enough?
Shoulder.
If Dream wins this, I don't know if Terran is OP, if Dream is OP, or if the Shirt Eating just doesn't work.
Brave Star. Dream.
He's on the top right-hand side. A shirt with a picture of him eating his shirt. That would be great. Solar eating a shirt on a shirt, and then the shirt is sold with a bite out of the collar. Yes. All right, guys. Bit of a rough series for Solar so far. Obviously, he looked great earlier on against Cure. Really delivered, but Right now, Dream just came out of the gates running, and he has not stopped. And Solo right now is being bulldozed. He's caught underneath Dream's momentum, and he needs to burst from below and do something. He's going to roach rush. You know what? I don't blame him. Dream is going 3cc every single game. This is a super fast roach roar, and this doesn't even really let the Banshee come out. So this is super, super all in. Super all in, as you see. A few links from Solo going out up through the top. Roachron's about to be done now. The Reaper is obviously very important here. The Lings are going to try and force the Reaper to turn back around. You see 6 Lings. I feel like you see 6 Lings, you might just back away anyway. Lings getting up around the top right-hand side. The Reaper does pull back. I mean, you might just bunker up on the high ground anyway because you see the 6 Lings, right? And you just think the possibility of a Roach follow-up is absolutely there. A lot of SCVs pulled, a lot of mining time lost. So obviously the Reaper unable to scout. The Roaches come straight through the center, and yeah, pressure from Solo to try and turn this around. Ravager. Wolf in factory gonna go to the reactor. Barracks gonna move off to the side. Gonna see a 3rd CC from Dream. He has no idea. Man. I mean, I don't know what you expect, Dream. You've just been stomping him in macro games time and time again, and then you just don't respect that he opened 6 Lings full first. Like, only I'm the one eating the shirt. Honestly, there's so many memes you can make out of this. I want to see some of these memes, guys, on our StarCraft or on the Dwardy Discord. There's so much potential. I believe in you all. Bottom left, our Blue Zerg.
Kaiser Demon. Shoulder.
Top right, our red Terran player. Still on match point. Is going to be
Brave Star. Dream.
Well then. I got another good one. Instead of, you know, Solo can be like, instead, you know, he's like, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. I mean, I'm here to kick ass and eat shirts, and I'm all out of shirts. Rips his off. He's like, you're gonna die now, Dream. Honestly, Solo has just cemented this as a meme. What's great is we're going to see Solo the rest of the weekend too. He'll be playing on Sunday in the grand finals for Kaiser. Maybe we'll see even more shirt eating action for this meme to build up even further. Alright, guys. Well, I mean, this map should go longer. Don't expect Solo to be hyper-aggressive here again. Got a bit of momentum back. Wins a quick game. I mean, yeah, it's not a long game, but, you know, it breaks just Dream feeling unbeatable. And it maybe makes Dream second-guess some of his builds. I think this is a 3cc map, for example. But then, do you go 3cc here? I'm not 100% sure. With an early link kill. 3rd CC setting up. So the reason this map is so tough for Terran is because the Zerg can just take the 4 bases across the bottom of the map, and it just takes an eternity to walk across. You pretty much have to take the lower third for the Terran player. And then that gives you at least a bit of movement toward the Zerg side of the map, but none of these bases are like really a forward step toward the Terran for the Zerg, and so you just get 4 really easy to hold bases, and you know, from there, everything else, you can play that big greedy, you can play that out, and then from there you just go into all the rest of it. Fusion core builds from Dream. He's maybe going to go back to Mech. I mean, I can 100% get behind Mech on this one. I think mech on this map makes a lot of sense. Maybe you get ahead early again, and then you can just play it out. Solo is going into an Evo chamber. Double Evo chamber super quick. Okay. So the problem for Solo this time is he will not have a spy early in the game. So, I mean, he didn't last time, but at least he had the lair down. This time the lair will be even later. So something to watch out for. This game gets started up. Lions arriving, jumping in for a drone right from the get-go. Picking up on that. Couple depots out on the front. We're waiting for this BC to kick into play, but I mean, again, where's Solo going to be at in terms of defense? He is setting up a second Spore Crawler, so he's starting to get answers on the field for how this is going to go, how he's going to work around this. Healing's showing up to the top side. A couple of refineries in a bit of trouble there. The Hellions are going to move away out over the right. More Hellions showing up, so those lanes kind of getting caught. Still on his way to Roach on the left. I think he's realizing what's going on here. He's seen the Hellion count, and well, BC's about to be done. No armory right from Dream, so I don't think he's gonna go. If he had an armory, he could actually do a lot with like a lot of these Hellions and the BC together. Teleports into the main on top of double Spore and 4 Queens that are full of energy. Don't think that's going to go so well, and Jin's going to have to fly out of there. So this time the early game defense from Solar is much better. Much better than what we had going on in that previous game that he played against Mech. May as well have been the last game for how the previous one was going. The previous game was just so quick. The amount of Hellions, obviously the Roach is going to help a lot against that. EC comes up, gonna nip away at the Overlord. A couple of transfusions coming in. Overlord being saved for the moment. Spire is setting up. So the Spire coming in right now. You got our +1 missiles, our Roach speed coming through. A couple of armories of Dream are gonna finish up very shortly, as well as our factories are still building up also. It's gonna be 5 factories in total. Another command center still coming into play. Ling's gonna run straight in. A few Marines gonna get back up to the top side, and the Lings continue to pick away at that. The Hellions showing up to push the Zerglings away once again. Nine Corruptors in production. Again, +1 missiles also on the way out. And Solo will just play this Roach style against the Roach Corruptor style against the BCs. Now, I don't think this is a map you can kind of just push and kind of win the game on immediately, right? I don't think this is the sort of map where you just kind of go for one big attack and that will be that. I think this is definitely something you've got to play over a little bit longer period of time and really play into some later stages. So let's see how this goes, as the first BC is going to get the Yamato and then needs to teleport away. Hello, teleport. Dream just let his BC die. That is really, really dumb. You can't let the BC die. You just can't. You can't let that happen. Simple as that. It's just not even a. It's not a question involved. It just can't happen. Well, I mean, the BCs are just expensive, right? They're 400, 300. They're meant to be one of the main units you have to keep controlling the map and to keep the game in an interesting state. And obviously now that's just that just doesn't happen at all. So yeah, this is a really rough little situation we got going on here. Road Ravager Corruptor shows up. I didn't really expect Solo to try and be this aggressive with it, but I mean, you kill a BC as well, and that's actually a pretty big deal in the first place anyway. Gonna be too much here from Solo, right? Just continuing through. The siege tanks are kind of holding on. I'm trying the best. Having a little bit of a tough time of it, though. And he's holding on to 3 bases, and that's the important part, right? As long as you're on 3 bases, there is some reasonable amount of hope here, I would say. There's definitely been worse scenarios. Yeah, denying the 4th could be a much worse situation for sure. Don't really know if there's anything in particular to be overly concerned about, I guess, because Dream's now going to have to defend 2 sides. So can Solo really lose out fighting from 2 sides? Well, yeah, sure he can. Right now he's getting pushed back on his right side big time. Teleports the BCs to defend the left, and I think that's going to be a defense from Dream. The BCs overhead. I mean, the question is how much do the Roaches get out of this? You're building 2 more command sets as Dream, but now you've pushed this back on the right side, so yeah, Solo ends up having to back away. And now you are on kind of Roach Ravager Corruptor and nothing else against a mech player who is now getting to 4 bases. So now you get to 4 bases. Okay, well, Corruptor show back up, and the Cyclones weren't here to really support those this BC. So now Dream's going to get broken on this top side. Well, Solo made it to Jagannath. They're only just, and by doing so, he's really given himself, I think, a map which he can control quite easily, and he's doing just that. As now he's taking down all of this, and so this is going to be a game. Number 6. Dream is not going to recover from 100 supply. Okay, well, this series gets brought to at least 6 maps. I mean, we were not looking like we were getting here in the slightest. So Solo turning it around. I mean, these last 2 games have been dominant as well. Like, you know, not sure what's going on last game for Dream, but both games you could say that it just hasn't looked as though Solo has had had any doubts in his mind that he can win every single game here, right? He's just been consistently great. Which the Ravens will continue through. I mean, you just give it the pressure at this point from Solo. You don't need to tech up anywhere else. What I was saying before really revolved around Dream surviving on 4 bases and getting a 4th base up, but that all changed when he was caught out of position on this left side. He lost 30 plus workers, and now, hey, you get the right side up, but then you lose the top side base. So you need both. You need 4 bases. The Zerg has 6, 7 bases actually already up and running, so sorry, 6. It's miscounting. Numbers are difficult. Never count on stream, guys, but yeah, this one is a little bit done and dusted. Orbital gonna move across. Couple of bars going down. Roaches and Ravagers still pushing through. This BC might eventually get the cleanup, but eventually being the important word, right? You know, it's not going to kill everything right away on its own, and there's only so many ground units left. Dream's still surviving on like 100-ish supply now. The BC's being corrosive barred down. It's super low. It ain't dead yet. Where are these barrels going to go? Trying to hit the BC. He's just going to go to the topside base third yet again and just try and get a few more SCVs over here. And he will get a good few of them. I think this will be the last time we see mech in this series. I think Dream got off to a very fortunate start when he played mech previously. This time around, Solo really knew what was coming. He really played around it. And, yeah. Gonna be very happy about that. Another fight comes in again. We really are. I mean, the problem is Solo maybe needs to make like 10 more Corruptors because the BCs keep surviving, although again, nothing else is surviving, so Dream is going to give it up at some point. There is the GG, and Solo takes another map. Guys, you eat your shirt, and all of a sudden, you just become unbeatable. And the top left-hand side, 2 drones moving out. That's because we're 45 seconds in somehow.
Shoulder.
Obviously joined this one a little late, guys. There's in the bottom right, our Red Terran player.
Brave Star. Dream.
Brave Star. Dream. Alright, game 6. If Dream eats his pullover, does he now win? Well, only if he can harness the power of the shirt eater. I mean, like, that's the problem. Solo is obviously an expert in this. Dream maybe not so much. That's 7, guys. Dream wins 1 map, he wins. Solo wins 2 maps, he wins. Dream was up 3-0 and looking unstoppable. Because now here we are on Death Aura to try and figure this next map out. Dream was getting ready to drop the factory, pulled the SCV back and just let the SCV on the depot build it instead. Grenade goes down, drone gets bopped. It's taking a bit of damage, but nothing that isn't unexpected at this stage. Or that is expected. That is unexpected. Nothing that is unexpected. Nothing that isn't expected. And my words wrong again. Going out the front, link speed coming in. Command center on the Natch, on the main base is going to be our 3rd CC. Once again, 3 CC just seems to be the way to play. He's actually going to send the barracks forward to try and snipe down an early game overlord. So looking for the early game overlord kill. It is there. Solo is not going to have anything to really protect this over with. No lings to come across the map or anything, so this will go down. Bit of a shame because he's building overlord speed as well, so he'll now have to send a different overlord out across the map. It's going to be a fusion core again. Dream, really? Another fusion core? I think because he thinks now he's gotten this overlord kill, he thinks maybe Solo won't see it, but then the overlord speed's going to see just that. Trainer goes down, pops 2 queens back. Hellions get him up the ramp as well, picking off a Zerglin. The Overlord from Solar. Continuing down. Here's with that Overlord speed. Gonna get that big scoot. SBC on the way up. He's already going Lair and Roachroar. Man, Dream is just falling back to this mech play, and I don't like it. I feel like he's super figured out right now as the Marines are not gonna get the real denial that they're looking for. Overlord sees everything. Sees the fusion core, sees the build and battle cruiser. Alright, well. Hellions and the Reaper going to come running up through the middle of the map. Going to continue across and going to run straight into a few queens here. Now, I'd say we're at the stage of a game where Solar, well, we'll see how well Solar can do. This is definitely an easier map to hold your 3 bases on. 4 bases, okay, a little tougher, but possible. Does Solar just try and bust through this again? Is that the plan? And what does he do if he can't bust through this? What is his follow-up tech if the Roach Ravager Corruptor doesn't give him the win? Takes down a drone in the main. Gonna be seeing this BC coming back through. Queen gets picked off. That's a few drones early. I mean, better than before, but there's some early roaches coming across, and I'm going to try and fight these Hellions, trying to split up to minimize the splash damage which Dream can put out defensively. Now some Zerglings showing up as well. The Lings are going to start streaming into this mineral line. The Roaches still set up to do okay. Lings are surrounded on that refinery right now. Ravager Bile forces the Reaper and the Hellions away. This is nice, just forcing that lift up. I already like where this is going for Solar, honestly. Now the Corruptor's on the way out. The BC came all the way back home to deal with this. I think after that, though, you know, you delay that third for so long as Solar, you've got to think that you've got a good chance of just doing good damage with a bust through of Roach Ravager Corruptor, right? Well, that is not the gas. That is the Spire. Hey, that's such an awkward place to build your Spire for that exact reason. You need to be careful about that. That's actually gas you need if you're going to build Ravagers, Corruptors. They're all very expensive. Well, Cyclone's getting a decent lock on there. Well, he's gone into the infestation pit. He's going to make Swarm Hosts. So Solar is not just going to go for the big old bust. He's going to play the Swarm Hosts instead. We're just getting in, getting a couple kills. Now just on the way from Solar, obviously give the Swarm Host that ability. Well, this is what I'm really interested about, because we've seen very different responses to the mech play each time so far. We've seen Roach Ravager Corruptor. We've seen Lingbane. We've now seen... Lingbane meter, that is, sorry. We've now seen Swarm Host. Let's see how the Swarm Hosts do, and can it work for Solar to take him up to pace match? After everything else that's happened so far this game, this series, like, it's been kind of crazy. Nice, comes in on the bottom side. The command center's flying out. So Roach Ravager's going to try and go one way. Obviously, just not that much of it. Doesn't actually have the biles. Okay, there's the third bile. Finally connects. Now the Swarm Host set up from the left, and, well, they're going to go diving straight into the natural. So Dream needs to be able to deal with that. We're going to see these Locusts going to start flying now. That's a good amount of units here, I think. I don't think this is actually too problematic. A little bit going down. Roach Ravager back on that third base. I guess that's what we're going to switch to here right now on the main screen. Is obviously watch out for those pictures and pictures popping up to show you what else is happening. Especially in a game like this where you've got Niduses and the Swarm Hosts are typically going to go one way and the rest of the Solar Army is likely to go another. It gives a lot of options for these picture-in-picture cams to show up. I mean, overall, defense so far pretty good from Dream. He's only 30 army supply behind, and that's all right, considering it's a low-tech, quick-to-build army from Solar. He's gone his 4th base up. Moments like this are really interesting moments, though. And I would love to see when these Hellbats are going to get their Blue Flame, because the Blue Flame obviously really helps to shred through the Locusts. So kind of surprised that hasn't been something which Dream started, like, immediately when he realized the fact that this was going to be coming through. There it is. There's the Blue Flame coming in. The 2-2 also started on the Armories during that moment. And now Solar starts to go into Hives. So Solar starts to play against this. He starts to say, right, well, you know, time to start getting up into Vipers. That's my next step. Cyclone's using a lot of their lock-ons onto these Locusts. The Hellbats are there once again to protect this. Well, honestly, I kind of like where the supplies are at. The Corruptors are going to stay and fight, and the BCs are going to take a pretty good win off that. Solar loses a lot. Most importantly, he loses every single Corruptor, and you can see it on his face. He knows that wasn't the fight he was meant to take. You can't just lose all your Corruptors. Now you've got to rebuild those, and that's gas you wanted to spend elsewhere. And you need them as well. Like, you need them. You can't go without. Just a few Hellions. Obviously, the Spine Crawler defense is pretty good. I mean, gets a couple drones. Not that big a deal. As long as you still got the Hellbats to help clean up here. There's that Blue Flame. Locust, did they even exist? Did they even spawn? Dream has really stabilized past the most difficult stage of playing against Swarm Hosts. You know, getting that 4th base up initially, the first few moments of this is absolutely the scariest part. And now I think getting into a much stronger position. Bit of Roach Ravager to the right-hand side from Solar. Going to be coming through, looking to try and jump on the base. Couple of depots taking some hits. Tank fire from a distance, good to cover that Roach Ravager army, so it will not be able to come on through. And these PCs are just dishing out hurt as well. I don't know where the Corruptors are. Maybe on the bottom side? Nope, that's just the Locusts, which once again don't do all that much. There's the Corruptors. Hello. PC's just going to say, nope, don't want to fight you guys. Hey, but the Cyclones get in here. Now they're going to get a lock on, and even more Corruptors are likely to die. Gets one. 2 of them survive 1 hit from death. Now, this is, I think this is fine for Solar. The thing is, Solar, yes, you start to build up a bank. Yes, you're kind of keeping Dream back, but Dream's at the point where he doesn't need to be kept back anymore because he's got enough to realistically say, right, let's start moving across the other side. Let's start making something happen here. That's exactly what he's starting to do. Now, this step forward, right? I mean, you clean up this wave of Locust, you can take another step toward the upper left side. And that's why Soul is desperately saying, no. You don't get to attack. You got to come back over here. But Dream says, no, I don't. He's just going to keep on moving. He's got a couple tanks here, a couple Cyclones, and Solar just can't find a way up. He doesn't know how much is up there. He doesn't know if there's 2 tanks or 5. I mean, this Roach Ravager army runs in. That's an unsieged Dream. As now it gets kind of expensive for Solar. Well, the only thing I am worried about is perhaps where, as these BCs trade out for Corruptors, I do wonder where maybe the next wave of Locust hit, because a lot of the Hellbats are now out on the map. Dream's actually going to slow it down and pull it back home. He is not maxed any longer, and I think he does want to be maxed if he's going to force a fight. So I think that's his current logic. So we're going to switch with the Mutalisk. So he actually just got a BC. That's going to be extremely important because of the Muta switch as well. No Thors or anything from Dream. He's not ready for Mutas in the slightest. That's a missile turret coming up here. That's not going to matter much. A few slow Widow Mines are up, but it's going to be difficult to get those to go off on the Mutas and not the Locusts. And that's the issue right now is Solar. Well, going to force these tanks to split away back home. Some of them will continue to chase through the center. Actually going to hunt down some Swarm Hosts. I mean, at least they're getting some value here. Now 4 Thors are on the way up. He actually denies the left side base as well. It's a Solar still only on 5 bases as Dream gets ready to take his 5th base as well on the bottom left side. Oh, the traditional stuck siege tank, horrible position of the factory. You've seen that so much lately since the War Chest Team League. I swear I've seen it like 3 or 4 times, and it's been... Before then it was a very rare occurrence, but now it's been like a common occurrence, a common theme. So here's the problem. Solo does clean up a bit with the Mutas, but now Thors come out and this army from Solo is just nullified again, right? Like now this army is actually just not that good at fighting. And that's obviously going to be a big part of the problem now. Thors taking down a lot of those Corruptors, the Mutas overhead, picking away at the command center. A siege tank, man. The thing is as well, that siege tank gets bullied because every single time you go back and look at it, it's still not going to be produced, and the observer's going to keep going back to check. Like, I know, because I would do the same. I'm going to be like, is that tank still stuck? A siege tank, man. Alright, Solo able to take... Lamina's really able to slow Dream down a little bit then. Dream is still making a push for the 5th base, however. I mean, you gotta remember, Solo's still only on 5 bases himself, and maybe if he gets this base Dream, he can then push up the left side and maybe take down Solo's attempt to move off of that. Problem is, there's just no good straight-up fighting army for the Zerg. 14 Mutas aren't great, the Locusts aren't exactly amazing, they're more of a harass unit, especially with the numbers that they're in, and what's on the map. Like, it's all very harassment-focused, and that's what we're kind of watching, just... basically different waves of harassment coming through and trying to get something done. BC just going to Yamato Muta, teleports out. So, I mean, BC confirms the base up on the top left-hand side. Both players maxed out still here. 18 minutes on Death Aura. He's going to turn back around again. Couple shots going down. Roach Ravager still pushing down. Couple corrosive bowels are going to hit between the siege tanks, so they get deleted. In the main base, these couple of Hellions are actually having a very good time cleaning out a lot of drones. That's not the main base, sorry. It's the... yeah, just... bad call. I mean, all these Mutas going down. The thing is, now you're going to remax on Roaches as Solar, in the hope that maybe, you know, because he's got Thors, you can maybe overrun them. PSCV's going down, at least making up for that Hellion damage on that left-hand side. Yeah, I mean, the problem is when going back to Roaches is your tech switch. I'm not exactly a big fan of it. To me, that's a terrifying way to have to play this out. Solar had got this base up over here, but now Dream actually finds himself on this base. I think he's a little bit less worried about counterattacks at the moment, so he's going to be a bit more adventurous, and he might just keep moving up this right-hand side to go deny a couple of bases. I think coming back to the bottom left doesn't really make a lot of sense, and I think he knows his army against what is basically pure roach reinforcements is just very good, so he says, well, why the hell not? Why not keep moving through? It's not like he's going to get overrun by Mutalisks or anything. There's the 5th base. Again, that's big because the 5th is kind of a big deal. Well, there goes every single Swarm Host. Well, now, even more Roaches. That is the plan. I like what Dream's doing, splitting up his army a little bit, going a couple different directions, going to let one army go towards this base, the other army there. The only problem is if this fight happens when these armies are split up, then obviously that is problematic. In a way, you could just view it as a very spread out Terran army, and we'll see how Solar tries to fight it. The BC's gone to the left-hand side. I think there's something maybe chasing there. I'm not sure what's around. So yeah, that BC going to start picking up drones. It's actually going to start targeting down the hatchery. He does get 2 hatchery kills already. He has these roaches dive in. I mean, the Thor's a little bit outnumbered, but still doing the best they can. Honestly, the tanks are just doing a lot. As this hatchery is maybe going to... Okay, Queen's showing up. Just talking about the picture-in-picture. The Queens do get the pushback on the BC there in the end. 11 drones went down, though. Dream. Oh, he unsieged at a bad moment there, didn't he? Dream loses a lot of supply, but Solo loses a ton of mining. There are Vikings which are just going unchecked, killing off Overlord after Overlord. He should just chase. I mean, I know there's a spore there, but like killing the Overlords, like he can genuinely supply block Solo with this. And he is going to. So Solo's going to be supply blocked. It's not like Solo's rich. After losing so many bases, he's actually not in a position at all to really deal with that. Double lib is stacked, so you got to be careful about those bars. It'd be great if you weren't stacked up there. A couple of Vikings moving around. Gonna find more Overlords. Just gonna see that this base is being rebuilt top right. I think there's an Overlord fleet that just left this base as well, realizing that they may be in trouble. And I think it's, yeah, it is a set of Overlords realizing that the Vikings are showing up. Oh, nice from Solo, though. He gets himself in a position which is dangerous. Obviously, you get over here and you can deny the mining. Man, Solo has nothing but Roach Ravager right now, which means this BC is actually very dangerous. It's just can't quite get in position. 6 SCVs for the 12 drones, 41 to 32 workers. Solo's army is larger, but it's less effective as he corrosive bars down one of the 2 Vikings. One will be left to put work in. He's going to change his mind and bring double Liberator over here, trying to block the Queens off a little bit. And actually, Solo might not be paying attention there, and he's got transfuse. He's good. And another one. And he misses that one. Okay, well, he's stopping some mine for a little while there. Dream is... He still has to run around after this larger Roach Ravager army. So he's running around, trying to catch it. BC all the way to the top side. The massive mules. That's the problem for Dream, right? He's been stuck on 4 bases, and getting to the keeping the 5th base has definitely been a problem for him. But makes a decent effort of it right there. I appreciate that. I mean, just got to take the moment when you got it right. And he's actually got a bit of gas, so it is mostly the mules that he's waiting on. Oh, I love this. A few Thors coming up. The thing is, there's not really that much Roach Ravager there to deal with this, so this might be the end of this base. Depends if he targets it down or what the priorities are. Oh, a couple of tanks caught out of position coming down. That base does fall. The Thors do okay. That's actually really big, as you're going to see. Honestly, this siege tank on that did get siege on the high ground is doing so well. It's picked off so many roaches. Solo drops down in supply, and I think in 23 minutes, Dream is now starting to take this down. I think he's got this. I think he's going to make it happen. Oh, he's going to clean up these last few roaches and ravages, and that is it! All Stars champion Dream.